It's easy to think we know Anne Boleyn. The name alone conjures a vivid, if often sensationalized image. The doomed queen, the temptress who stole a king's heart and lost her head for it, a woman whose ambition supposedly led to her own demise. We've seen her portrayed countless times on screen, from the seductive schemer of the Tudors to the fiery, independent spirit in Wolf Hall. But what if the Anne Boleyn we think we know is, in fact, a carefully constructed caricature, a mishmash of Tudor propaganda, Victorian morality, and modern dramatic license? But before we begin, don't forget to like and subscribe to help us grow our channel. The truth of the matter is that the real Anne Boleyn, the flesh and blood woman who lived, loved, and ruled, is far more complex, and frankly more fascinating, than the one-dimensional figure of popular culture. By digging into the historical records, we can begin to peel back the layers of myth and misportrayal to reveal a woman of intellect, agency, and considerable influence. It's time to set the record straight and give Anne Boleyn the credit she deserves. Myth number 1, the seductive schemer. Hollywood loves a good femme fatale, and Anne Boleyn has often been cast in this role. The story goes that she deliberately set out to ensnare King Henry VIII, using her wiles to secure the throne. She's often depicted as a ruthless social climber, a woman who manipulated the king's desires for her own gain. The historical record, however, tells a different story. Anne was a lady-in-waiting to Catherine of Aragon when Henry's eye first fell upon her. While she certainly had charm and charisma, she was not some commoner trying to claw her way up the social ladder. Anne came from one of England's most influential families, the Boleyns, and was well connected through her mother, Elizabeth Howard, a member of the powerful House of Norfolk. She was educated, multilingual. She spent a significant portion of her youth at the French court, and a fashion trendsetter. She was, in short, a highly desirable and accomplished woman in her own right. Furthermore, Anne's resistance to Henry's advances is often overlooked. For years, she refused to become his mistress, a position that would have secured her a comfortable life, but left her with no real power or legitimate standing. Instead, she held out for marriage, a move that, far from being purely manipulative, suggests a woman who understood her own worth and refused to settle for anything less than the respect and recognition she deserved. It was her unwavering conviction, not some cynical scheme, that ultimately drove Henry's obsession and his unprecedented decision to break from the Catholic Church. Myth number 2, the six-fingered witch. One of the most persistent and bizarre myths surrounding Anne Boleyn is that she had a sixth finger, or some other physical deformity, which was seen as a sign of witchcraft. This tale likely originated with Nicholas Sanders, a Catholic polemicist writing decades after Anne's death, who was eager to discredit Henry VIII's marriage and vilify the Protestant Reformation. Sanders's work was full of scurrilous claims and outright fabrications, and the six-fingered Anne was one of his most lasting contributions. Contemporary accounts, however, paint a different picture. The Venetian ambassador described her as not one of the handsomest women in the world, but with a graceful manner, and noted her black and beautiful eyes. George Wyatt, a later biographer and grandson of Anne's friend, the poet Thomas Wyatt, wrote that she had a small, inconspicuous fingernail on one of her little fingers, but certainly no sixth digit. This minor detail was likely exaggerated and distorted over time by her enemies to support the idea that she was somehow monstrous or unnatural. The truth is, Anne was a trendsetter, known for her beautiful clothes and her distinctive French hood headdresses. It's highly unlikely that she would have been able to hide a physical deformity of that magnitude, and it's even more unlikely that it would have gone unremarked upon by the many courtiers, ambassadors, and artists who saw her on a daily basis. Don't forget to like and subscribe to help us grow our channel. Myth number 3. She caused the English Reformation. The popular story often credits Anne Boleyn as the direct cause of the English Reformation. This narrative suggests a simple transaction. King Henry VIII wanted to marry Anne, the Pope wouldn't annul his previous marriage, so Henry broke from the Catholic Church. While Anne's presence certainly accelerated the process, it's a vast oversimplification to say she was the sole cause. The roots of the Reformation in England were far deeper. There was growing dissatisfaction with the Church's power and wealth, a new intellectual movement called humanism, and a desire for the Bible to be available in English. Henry himself had been a staunch defender of the Catholic faith, even earning the title Defender of the Faith from the Pope for his criticism of Martin Luther. Anne Boleyn, however, was a key figure in bringing reform-minded ideas to the forefront of the English court. She was a devout and intelligent woman who supported religious reform. She owned and read a copy of William Tyndale's banned book, The Obedience of a Christian Man, which argued for the king's ultimate authority over the church. She used her influence to champion reformers and intellectuals like Thomas Cranmer, who would later become Archbishop of Canterbury and play a crucial role in establishing the Church of England. So, while Anne wasn't the only reason for the Reformation, she was an influential proponent of it. She helped these new ideas flourish within the highest levels of power and provided a powerful personal and political motivation for Henry to pursue the break with Rome. Myth number 4, the ambitious mother who failed. We are often told that Anne's greatest failure was her inability to provide Henry with a male heir, which is seen as the reason for her downfall. This narrative paints her as a tragic figure whose ambition led her to an impossible task. While it is true that Anne gave birth to a daughter, the future Queen Elizabeth I, and suffered several miscarriages, this view ignores the historical context of child mortality and the understanding of reproduction at the time. The blame for not producing a male heir was almost always placed on the woman, as it was a common misconception that a woman's body was solely responsible for the sex of the child. Moreover, the idea that she was a failure ignores the immense power she wielded as queen consort. Anne was an active political force. She used her influence to support the arts, advocate for the poor, and promote religious reform. She was a queen who engaged in political discussions, which was highly unusual and seen as a threat by many male courtiers. Her intelligence, strong opinions, and close relationship with the king all contributed to her enemies' desire to see her removed from power. Her downfall was not simply because she failed to produce a son. It was a combination of factors, including her unpopularity with conservative factions at court, the growing influence of the Seymour family, and Henry's own impatience. Anne's enemies, led by Thomas Cromwell, simply used the opportunity presented by her last miscarriage to create a series of fabricated charges, including adultery, incest, and treason, which were designed to eliminate her as a political rival. The real Anne Boleyn. So who was the real Anne Boleyn? She was a woman of fierce intelligence and deep faith. She was a trendsetter, a patron of the arts, and a passionate advocate for religious reform. She was a devoted mother to her daughter, Elizabeth, and a powerful figure in her own right. She was not a witch, a seductress, or a failed mother. She was a woman who navigated the treacherous world of the Tudor court with skill and conviction. Her story is a cautionary tale about the dangers of power and the fragility of a woman's position in a patriarchal society. The image of Anne Boleyn we have inherited is one often shaped by her enemies, a caricature designed to justify her execution and discredit the Reformation she championed. By looking beyond the myths, we can appreciate the real Anne Boleyn, a woman who left an indelible mark on English history, not just by her death, but by the life she lived, a life of intellect, influence, and unwavering resolve. She was not the tragic victim we so often see on screen, but a formidable queen who deserves to be remembered for her strength, not just her demise. Don't forget to like and subscribe to help us grow our channel. Thank you for watching, and ring that bell to receive notification on new videos.